it seems to me that one of the biggest challenges facing the teacher, and I don't have a solution to this, obviously, but one of the biggest challenges is knowing what is in their students' heads at any given time. What is the state of the student's current knowledge? What is their understanding? What do they think a fraction is? You know, what do they think it means to read? I don't know what the basic questions should be here. Obviously it'd be different for any teacher in any given subject matter, but having a real-time sense of what's in kids' heads is really important, because otherwise you can be teaching over their heads. You can be teaching, making some assumptions about what they know and what they're understanding that just are not based on the reality of what kids know and can do at any given point. I just gave my midterm in my graduate course, which is Introduction to Educational Research, and one of the questions was on the midterm. Asked them, they were given some data on some correlational statistics, and they were asked to show the statistics in the form of a model. And I had prepared them for this question by talking about these kind of statistical models a number of times in the class. And also, and immediately before the midterm, this is part of my approach to universal design for learning, I'd done a review just right before the midterm. And during that same class period that they were taking the midterm, I spent the first half an hour or so just going over the material that I knew that was going to be covered on the midterm, just trying to make sure that everybody got it before I actually went on and tested them. So, and I had talked about this thing about a model and what we meant by a model and so on and so forth. Well, so when I looked at the exams and I got them back, what I found was that maybe half of them had gotten that question right, but a good 50% of them had really blown that. I'd asked them to produce a model, and then instead they produced a graph or a table, or they didn't give anything at all. They didn't give me what I was looking for, which was some, a model showing boxes representing different variables, and then lines between them to show the relationship and the correlation coefficients along those lines. That was the kind of thing I was looking for. And I just didn't get it. And yet I had tried as a teacher, I tried so hard to make sure that they were prepared for that question, that they understood this concept. And so it just sort of, it really puzzled me. And I was thinking, why do they have so much trouble with this question? And as I thought about it, what I realized was that many of these students, and I realize, this is what my suspicion is now, that many of these students that I was assuming some stuff about their math literacy and their basic math and science literacy that wasn't there. The idea of a model, and a model consisting of variables, constructs representing variables, and then some way of showing the relationship among these variables, which I take as just basic math literacy. I assumed that my students at a graduate level would have this, but it became clear to me that they just didn't. Some of them, they just didn't have it. So they could listen to me talking about it a lot, and yet because they just didn't have those constructs in their head to begin with, they just weren't maybe processing what I was saying. So this gets back to the question. I guess I'm not saying, here again, as I said, I don't have any solutions, but man, having a sense of what individual kids know at any given time in your class is really, to my mind, is just the biggest challenge. Eleanor Duckworth, by the way, is really good on this in The Having of Wonderful Ideas. Do you know that book? One of my favorite books. But she's really good about this whole thing about sort of clinical interview sort of approach to teaching and teaching as a conversation.